you can just kind of cover the whole gamut.
I've got 3 sets. I got the dirty stuff, go out to eat, and then the evening.
Says the retired guy.
There you go.
The retired guy's got the 3.
But I tell my wife I got to do 3 or 4 days of each to equal a day.
Yeah.
Well, I love the weather. It's going to be a beautiful night tomorrow night for high school football. Should be fantastic. We got a lot to talk about. High school guys, the theme tonight is technically nobody's out yet at all levels. Now, we get the Titans, we may disagree a little bit, but nobody's out. So we're going to talk about, obviously, all across the board tonight. We're going to talk about some fall sports here in a minute. Unfortunately, some seasons ended, but has some great seasons. This show is always sponsored by Ideas Tees. It is the place in Rutherford County for school spirit wear, screen printing, embroidery, specialty items, and more. Plus, a bottle of your officially licensed MTSU Blue Raider merchandise from Raider Tees. For Blue Raider tees, polos, hats, and more, visit their showroom at 910 Ridgely Road. You just turn off Broad Street between Chewy's and Chili's. Ideas Tees can put your logo on just about anything. Stop in and see how they can help you promote your favorite team, workplace, or organization. Find out more online at ideastees.com.
Since 1966, Vans Heating and Air has been a symbol of quality for Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. For friendly, complete service on Amana, Bryant, or American Standard Heating and Air products, Vans will do it all. Sell you your choice of products and then install it with their factory-trained, experienced professional staff. In the unlikely event you need service, Vans will be there with trained technicians. Vans Heating and Air is located on Jayhawk Court. Call 615-893-7930. Vans Heating and Air.
Hello, this is Coy Young at Las Casas Feed Supply. We'd like to welcome you to our door.
If you're a homeowner with a quarter acre or several, Las Casas Feed Supply focuses on premium feeds and dog foods you won't find in the box stores.
Nutrition is our specialty here at Las Casas Feed.
Family owned and operated by Coy and Jennifer Young, inviting you to stop by, visit, and enjoy the country.
Customer service and expertise that exceeds your expectations.
Las Casas Feed is also your place for local milk from the MTSU Dairy on Barlow Lane, just off Highway 96 East in Las Casas.
Craig's Tax Service.
We perform tax preparation, individual tax returns, corporations, partnerships, and all your payroll bookkeeping needs.
Brandon Craig with Craig's Tax Service.
We fulfill all your tax preparation needs from individual returns to corporations and handle any of those scary letters you may get from the IRS.
Craig's Tax Service at 142 Heritage Park Drive. Call 890-2233 for an appointment.
We're proud to support all Rutherford County athletes.
Craig's Tax Service, 890-2233.
At Dr. Automotive in Smyrna, we're committed to providing local car owners with top-notch auto repair services. With over 2 decades of experience, our ASC certified master technicians are experts in both foreign and domestic vehicles, ensuring accurate diagnosis and timely, cost-effective repairs. From oil changes to major engine and transmission repairs, we've got the cure for your car. Dr. Automotive, keeping your car running smoothly, mile after mile. Visit our website, smyrnaautorepair.com.
This is a paid legal ad.
You've probably heard it a million times. If you're injured, call a lawyer. And you probably haven't because you don't know how much it will cost, how long it will take, or even if you have a case. At the law offices of John Day, we provide a free initial consultation because we understand that folks don't want to pay a lawyer only to find out they don't have a case. If you think we can help, we do so on a contingency basis, which means we only get paid if you do. Seriously injured? Call me, John Day.
Insurance should be simple, not complicated. That's why at Rayburn Insurance, Agent Rick Hull cuts through the jargon and helps you understand your options clearly. He's committed to finding the right coverage that fits your unique needs and budget. Their team has been a trusted partner in the community since 1973. Ready to make insurance easy? Get with Rick Hall at Rayburn Insurance Agency. He's ready to help you get the protection you deserve.
Primetime Sports presented by Ideas Tees on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at wgnssports.com.
All right, we're back. We're going to talk fall sports. Unfortunately, we had a lot of seasons in this week. Girls soccer in the state tournament in Chattanooga. Houston 5, Oakland nothing. Oakland finished 8-5-4 under head coach Jeff Porter. Siegel also fell to Bearden 3-0. Siegel finished the year 15-2-1 under Coach Katie Smith. Rod, you mentioned you get to the state level, you got certain programs that are just there all the time.
Right. And you talk about soccer, you're going to have one team from West Tennessee, Houston, and then you're going to have a couple teams from Williamson County. I was surprised with Bearden being the one that beat them 3-0, Siegel, but maybe they're coming on because I haven't really watched this closely lately. I mean, when I was middle school coach, we used to work the state tournament as ball girls and all that, so I was kind of really aware of it at that time.
In volleyball, Blackman fell 3-0 to Nolensville and then 3-0 to Farragut. Blackman gets to the first state tournament since 2014. Congratulations to Coach Macy Pringle for that region title and getting to state. Again, just you came into a couple programs that have just been buzzsaws. Middle Tennessee Christian fell to Good Pasture and North Point Christian. Middle Tennessee Christian finished 33-5 on the year in volleyball under first-year coach Nicole Burks. So congratulations again to all those teams. Great seasons. Whether it's soccer, volleyball, we talk football. So if there's a sports talk show around Chattanooga and Knoxville and Chattanooga, we're going to hit those teams out of Murfreesboro. You know that, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what they say. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's if they're talking high school football, other places, just like we're talking about, teams out of Houston, teams out of Knoxville or Chattanooga, or, they're going to be talking about football. They're going to talk about, at some point you're going to have to go through Rutherford County, just like we always talk about. You hate to think about it, but you have to make that road trip to Maryville.
Right, and it's a gradual one because remember Oakland first met Maryville, they got beat, and then they had a game that was very close, and the call made a bit difference, but it kept getting better, and then we won at home, they won at home, and then Oakland finally got to the point where they could win at home and away.
Yeah, because Maryville was a complete buzzsaw in the playoffs for so many years, because I think before Oakland beat them a few years back, their previous home playoff loss was to Smyrna High School in 1995, I believe. Larry Daniels and Coach Shad went up there and whooped that tail for them. And I think it was 95, I believe, when Smyrna went to the semifinals in Class 4A. That was when they were in Class 4A. They weren't in the highest classification at that time. Mm-hmm. But that was their previous, their last home loss in the playoffs.
And we're heading that way. We'll talk about that later. We're heading that way. We've got a couple of teams that look like they're going to make a deep run in the playoffs. Cross-country news, the Region 4 AAA meet is in Manchester on Monday. Girls' favorite is the Rockville Rockets, and the boys are Blackman and Siegel. 4A AA meet, Central Magnet and Eagleville will be traveling to, do you say Lafayette or Lafayette?
I think in Tennessee you say Lafayette.
Right, Lafayette.
Run up the hill to Lafayette.
However, I would say it when I moved here. You don't say it that way.
Division 2, the Middle Region meet is Middle Tennessee Christian and PCA head up to Nashville at Warner Parks. And then the state cross-country meet's coming up November 7th and 8th. Now, we talked about the weather. The runners like the coolness, so the morning's pretty good for the runners. But this afternoon heat, of course, I don't like to run anytime.
Well, the thing about it is, do they like the cool weather to run in? Because does the cold air, what does that do to your lungs? Because sometimes the cold air, it can make your lungs hurt and all that kind of stuff. So maybe they would rather have the sweat going. And once you get to run, it hasn't been cold enough now, I think, to be a factor. But if it's like 20, maybe so.
Says the swimmer. Did you jump in your pool this week?
Sure doggone did this morning.
You're still going, huh?
Still got the streak going.
Streak's going.
I covered mine this week.
You covered yours this week?
Yep.
Well, if I weren't a basketball in my hand, running's just useless as far as I'm concerned.
94 feet's about the length of your distance, right?
That's right. I could run all day long with the ball, but not just to run. That's just miserable. All right, let's talk World Series. What we expected, pretty much.
Yep.
Dodgers, Yankees, the number 2 versus number 3 payroll. The Mets, that's why they're mad, because they had the number 1 payroll. We're starting tomorrow night in L.A., and I wrote down guesses. Well, let's guess. All right, I'll let you go first, Rod. You got 7 games. Who's winning and how many?
Boy, it's tough. I would say the Dodgers, and I think because of home field advantage.
How many you going?
I'll go full 7.
Ooh.
Yankees in 6.
Yankees in 6. Now to win in 6, that means they got to still one out in L.A. at some point, obviously, maybe 2, right? So it goes first 2 are in L.A., then you go 3 to New York, so that's 5. So you're going to steal one of the first 2 games.
You can go 1-2, 1-2-1.
And then you're going to lose one in New York. I mean, that happens a lot, though.
Yeah.
They lose home field advantage, then they give it right back and things. So I'm gonna go with you, Rod. I was thinking before I asked you this question, I'm thinking Dodgers in 7.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a great series, hopefully. Hopefully the pitching, some people like pitching. I like a little offense. You want to see Ohtani. You want to see the Judge.
Well, that's one thing about it. We do have some dramatic offensive weapons now that have a lot of power, and people follow them. In fact, Ohtani's got them all over the world, and in Japan, as far as following them, and you're talking about, legitimate power hitters. Stanton's just come on, and he's the one who hits it farther than anybody else. He just doesn't hit it as often.
Joker got a monstrous swing. Here's who's going to win. Whoever pitches the best. That's what wins in baseball.
It always comes down to
pitching.
pitch. I just hope I don't want to see a 1-0 and all those kind of games.
And you look at it, the starters. I think Yankees have a better starter group, but I think the Dodgers have a better relief group. So both of them depends on which one dominates. Can the Yankee starters get far enough along into the game?
Well, the Dodgers, with Mookie and Ohtani, that lineup's pretty stout. Little sad Dodgers news. When I was a kid, Fernando Valenzuela.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when he came on the scene, passed away this week. Looking up at the sky before he pitched, he was, no offense to anybody, he was porky. It seemed like to me when he was pitching.
When Fernando Mania was at his height, when he was a rookie and he walked out there, like thinking, who is this joker? Looks like he's overweight. He doesn't look at the plate when he's throwing the ball to it. What's he doing? How did he get here? Who is he? And then he's just like bam, bam, bam. I think he won like 19 games his rookie year, and like I said, unbelievable. Fernando Valenzuela, took the world by storm there when he came on the scene.
And the only one to win Rookie of the Year and Cy Young Award in the same year.
Yeah. He just, like I said, he could flat it. Had great stuff. That was the whole thing. He had great stuff. And here's a question I got for you guys, because y'all are much more in tune with baseball than I am. Does everybody throw mid to upper 90s? Because what little bit I've watched of it, they show the gun, or they show it because they got the box on the screen, so you can see where strikes. So that way you can criticize the umpires even more if you want to, and they show the miles per hour. But does every pitcher throw mid to upper 90s now in the big leagues?
What do you think is the percentage, Rod?
I would say a little over 50%.
I think it's higher than that. But from what I've seen, I don't know. Like I said, it's just but they're all throwing the juice. I remember when my youngest boy was playing high school, and he played on the Kansas City Royal Scout team and all that stuff. And there was this kid that played at Riverdale, big tall kid. Man, his name escapes me at the moment. But when he started getting scouts all over him was when he hit 90. He said that's what his dad told me.
Right.
He said when he hit 90 on the gun at one of these tournaments, he said my phone started blowing up with scouts. So that's what they're looking for. They're looking for the juice. Yeah. They're looking for the gas.
Yeah. Well, you saw a kid still throwing gas in Sonny Gray.
Right. Exactly. Oh yeah. So
the thing is, 95. We don't call that gas anymore. That used to be the gas.
Oh, that was just unbelievable gas. Because when Nolan Ryan was on the scene, he's throwing upper 90s consistently and touching 100, and he was by far the fastest. No, J.R. Richard maybe, some of those guys, but there was very few guys. Most were like mid to upper 80s, might touch the low 90s, but you look at a guy like Greg Maddux, the pitching is, gas is good, but pitching is the 3 most important things about pitching. You know what they are?
Location.
You got it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I would, that'd be a little statistical thing to look into. I would say your starting pitchers, probably the percentage is low.
Oh, yeah.
But once you get to relievers and the closers.
Well, a lot of times you take a starting pitcher, if you put them in relief, after a while they're going up to the upper 90s because you cannot go all out.
No, you got to pace yourself.
You have to pace.
You have to pace yourself.
Right. It's a different style. That's why the majority of your starters will not be that upper level.
And then
the relief pitching, especially if you don't know their names, they come up recently. They're throwing usually.
That Joyce kid who played at Tennessee, who's playing for the Angels now. If I'm right, I know he got 104, maybe 105 this year.
Unbelievable. Because Chapman used to be the guy who had the most gas in the league. Is he even in the league anymore?
Yes.
Yep, he's still bouncing around places.
I'm not sure where he's at, but he's in.
If you can still throw gas, you got a place in the league. So hopefully, again, good series again starts tomorrow night, all you baseball fans out there. All right, we're going to take a little jump for a few minutes because we'll take more than this, a little less what we got left of this segment. Let's talk Titans. We went to Buffalo, played a good first half. We were up 10-0, 10-7 at the half, and I was like, well, okay. Show me something, Titans. I came back after halftime, and they showed me who they were again, unfortunately.
Who started quarterback? Did Levis?
No.
He did not.
Okay. Did he
He's
play?
Out. He's still out.
He's still out. They are, quote, unquote, resting him, as Bill Callahan says.
Okay.
It is for his arm is sore and his mechanics are affected.
Okay. I'll probably leave that one alone.
But
anyway.
The thing I think, what I saw happen, is that when they came out, Buffalo changed their defensive plan. Said, we don't have to worry about the run. We don't have a Derrick Henry over there. And so it was all out, let's get the quarterback. And, I mean, they were coming from everywhere. And if by doing that, if you're running, you have a chance to run into the running back anyway. And so, I mean, they were just all out.
Well, that was a key play right there in the third quarter. On a short third and a short fourth, Titans didn't make it, turned the ball over, and then Buffalo turned around and scored, and it just...
That was on our own 40.
Yep.
Fourth down, and we ran the very same play, and they stuffed it again. And then that's when the game changed. Because after that, they went ahead after that play.
So, I mean, Mason Rudolph played quarterback for the Titans, looked good early. 25 of 40, 215 yards. Did have a touchdown, but also an interception and a fumble. He only threw for 60 yards. Talking about we can't run. We only threw 60 yards in the second half. So, I mean, can't run, can't throw.
Makes it tough to score. I'm going to say this. I think given the Titans' makeup, if they're throwing the football 40 times, they're probably not going to be winning.
No.
Well, and the hard part now is I asked y'all last week. If you remember, I asked you last week, you going to sell or you going to stay put? Well, the question has been answered.
Well, I said stay put, but now this week I say sell.
Well, we were afraid of that. Going in there 1-4, sitting at 1-5 now, got to go to Detroit. And Detroit's, they're playing lights out. So we're staring 1-6 and being tied at the bottom.
Are we doing what we should have done from the beginning? Rebuild? I mean, a genuine rebuild? Or I think we thought we'd get a few people, things look up. Maybe we can make our rebuild slower. Not so dramatic, so we can still win. But they found out we're not going to win because their quarterback situation is very unsettled.
Well, you picked up Ridley, you picked up Pollard, two good offensive players. Haven't done anything. Now we've traded DeAndre Hopkins. Good for him. He's going to Kansas City.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to get traded, send me to Kansas City with Mahomes and give me a chance to see what I can do on that side.
I'm like seeing Derrick Henry be successful. He's with the team that he can be successful with.
That's right. We're going to flip the side over to a commercial. We'll come back, talk more Titans and pro football.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
If your old unit needs a tune-up, the professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air service all major brands and even offer same-day service in most cases. Keep your home or business comfortable year-round. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass. Online at PrenticeAllsup.com.
Market declines, unemployment, oil prices. Don't let headlines derail your long-term financial strategy. I'm Edward Jones Financial Advisor Lee Colvin. I'll work with you to help you understand the impact of short-term events and how to be positioned for the long term. We provide the tools for a disciplined approach to investing. Call 615-907-7056 for an opportunity to discuss your situation. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC.
At Little Caesars, get a large custom 2-topping pizza for only $7.99 when you order online. Wait, did I just say $7.99? Get out of here. This pizza is only $7.99. No way. This is $7.99? You're joshing me. You're saying this pizza perfection is only $7.99? Well, you're crazy for this. Listen, pirate, stop taking my $7.99 pizza. Choose a large custom 2-topping pizza for the unbelievable price of $7.99 when you order online. Only $7.99. What?
Pizza.
Parks Auction. We handle everything.
You have a staff that comes to your home. They tell you what to do. They walk you through it. It's been my experience that what I thought I should get for my home, I got much more for it.
Visit our website at parksauction.com.
Hi there, Parks Auction, 896-4600. Stan Vaught and the Parks Auction team are proud supporters of local high school and MTSU sports.
Genesee Orthopedic Alliance takes great pride in treating local athletes here in Rutherford County. Here's Dr. Russell McKissick with TOA.
We have a passion here for taking care of our athletes here in Rutherford County. We really do our best to take care of them.
Experts in joint, bones, and muscles.
Many years we've been taking care of athletes around here, and we've just picked up where Dr. John started, and we just keep going.
TOA has a playbook that gets you back in the game. To request an appointment, visit TOA.com or call 855-NEED-TOA. TOA, live your best life.
Primetime Sports presented by Ideas Tees on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at wgnssports.com.
All right, we're back talking Titans. Titans 1-5, sitting and looking at Detroit coming at them, and looking at 1-6. Rand Carthon and company are trying to decide: are we going full rebuild, partial rebuild? We got rid of Hopkins, got rid of Jones. It's tough on the other remaining players. Again, talking about a Pollard and a Ridley, or just came in, and you're talking about guys that are playing hard. Losing is not easy at any level.
No, it's absolutely not. And the whole thing is when you like having these discussions when you're like 12 games into the season, not when you're 7 games into it, you know.
Well, the other hard part is, like I say, looking at the schedule. You know, you've got a possible winnable game versus New England, who's also sitting at 1-6. L.A. coming, we got to go there 2-4 next couple of weeks, so it could get worse.
Absolutely, it could. And you know, that's the thing about it is, you know, it is so competitive. But here's the good news, okay? Because I'm a glasses half full guy. Things can change in a year. It used to be old school. NFL, you had to build through the draft, make some trades, whatever. Maybe you get somebody off the scrap heap that got cut. That's not it now. With the free agency and all that kind of stuff, you can turn things around in 1 year. You can go from outhouse to penthouse if you get a few breaks and you got some money to throw out there. So that's going to be the key. Can they free up enough cap room to sign some folks? And can they just, things play out for you and pan out for you? Because, draft picks are only as good as their performance on the field.
Absolutely.
And then so you can draft who you think is the greatest guy for your program, but maybe it doesn't work out.
And Titans have proved that many years in a row, unfortunately, especially on the offensive line.
That's been a killer. Isaiah Wilson, failure, and he was drafted first round. In fact, I think the one with Radens was with, he's the only one still there from that whole draft.
Well, I know we've owned like our third right tackle in the last couple of weeks, and we're 0 for 3 in little baseball knowledge. Yeah. We're not batting very well on the right side.
Well, Coach Mack said usually it takes 2 to 3 years when you start a rebuild where you really start to see some success. Because, number one, this whole system is new to everybody. They're new to everybody, and you got a lot of young people. Now you got to try to find the key senior players, more experienced players that can really help the others learn. Not somebody that's going to be pouting, because we're not winning, but somebody who can uplift and teach them. This is part of it. You take the hard knocks to get where we want to go.
Well, and that's the hard part too, like you just said, Rod. But they know how good they are. We don't have to figure it out for them. They know they're struggling, and those veteran players, are they willing to stay? Like I said, Hopkins is ecstatic going to Kansas City. Jerome Brown went to Seattle. We got Jerome Brown for Ernest Jones. He went to Seattle. I think an upgrade for him. So, question becomes: our cornerstones. Who's a cornerstone in your mind for the Titans?
Hooker in the defensive backfield. Of course, Simmons. Then offensive line. I hope our center is, and I think him and our left guard will probably be cornerstones for that one. And then Latham will be joining them pretty quickly. I think he's a quick learner. The thing is, well, what do we have for quarterback yet? Do we have really a cornerstone there? That's, to me, that's got to be the most important cornerstone.
Well,
see what Pavia did for Vandy. I mean, offense and defense, just the attitude.
Well, that's going to be a big thing between now and, of course, next season. Titans have $14.9 million in cap space. They're not going to spend that. If they can pick up a few more picks, looks like they will. So we'll see. We'll see going down the road. They're just hard to watch. Gosh, they're hard to watch. I mean, I fell asleep.
Watch the first half and
then quit.
Go. Yeah, take your nap then.
Another team struggling down in Nashville Predators. They did pick up their first win over Boston 4-0. They've moved to 1-5. For all you hockey fans out there, have you been? You've been to a hockey game, right?
I have been to a hockey game. Yes, it's been a few years, but I've been to a couple of Preds games. Years back when we had the old Nashville Knights. I don't know if you remember the Nashville Knights. I went to a bunch of those games. Just my wife was part of the Budweiser dance team that was the Nashville Knights game, so we got free tickets. So we went
free
to
tickets.
we went to lots of Knights games.
You got a lot of free tickets. All right, so we've talked about the Titans struggling. Preds struggling in Nashville. Team not struggling in Nashville. Rod gave a little hint there. Well, the Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yes, I mean they keep winning. You know what's wrong with them? They just keep winning and winning.
You know, it's some good things are happening down there on West End right now on the football field. You know, you used to have the Memorial Magic with basketball because they've always been pretty good in basketball. The basketball's kind of taken a little bit of a dip here lately, but you know that was what Vanderbilt kind of hung their hat on. But this year, you know, I mean, you beat Alabama, you beat Kentucky. I mean, you know, it's one of those things where what's going to happen this week, Clark? I mean, I haven't seen the pigskin picks here, but what's going to happen this week? Who's a believer? Who's not? Texas is coming to town off of a butt whooping that they took. What's going to happen down there?
Well, last week, though, scared me. Let's talk about last week first. You know, like you said, beat Alabama, beat Kentucky, and I was like, don't blow it against Ball State.
You knew it was going to be tough.
You knew it was.
You knew it
was.
And so they needed that four-quarter magic to rally for that 24-14 victory over Ball State. But, Rod, you mentioned the person that has turned the whole program around, no offense to Clark Lee, it's their quarterback.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I mean, it's like whatever the situation, he's going to find a way to make the play. You know, he doesn't get intimidated by situations.
He doesn't, and I think so. He came from like New Mexico State, is that right? So here's my theory. He didn't even know who Vanderbilt was before he came here, because that's the whole thing. Is a lot of that stuff I think gets in your head. And then it's like they found ways to lose games. They would play extremely well 3.5 quarters. I talked about this, I think, on the show last time or whatever. But they would find a way to lose. Well, he's finding a way to win because he don't know who Vanderbilt used to be. He doesn't know.
And
he don't care.
And he has a lot of confidence.
That's right. He
says, I'm the best quarterback in college right now.
And maybe he is. Maybe he is.
And he's playing like he is.
17 of 31 for 275 and a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and also led him in rushing with 82 yards on 13 carries. He's doing a little bit of everything. Coach Lee said, we're a team that's not beating ourselves right now. The Titans are beating themselves, and when you see somebody lose at all levels, they're beating themselves. And he says that goes a long way to positioning yourself to at least be within striking distance, and that's what they've done. They've kept the Alabamas, the Kentuckys just far enough away to get those victories. Pavia was 8 of 13 on third down. He pulls it out of his hat over and over.
Well, it means something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what you want, the clutch player.
All right, so you went to this Saturday. You got a Texas team coming off a loss, a Vanderbilt team on a 3-game winning streak. Both teams are in the top 25. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a top 25 matchup. Is there any way Vanderbilt can beat Texas?
I'm going to say this. Anchor down. I'm predicting it right here. Vandy upset. Come on, Vandy. They'll probably lose. But anyway, no, I think absolutely they have a chance. I mean, look at what they've done. Like Rod said, look at the quarterback. When you have a guy who can make plays like that, you can win football games.
If you keep it close for a while and you make Texas start to doubt. I mean, how many games with like Tennessee and these other teams, after a while you begin to doubt. The fans get frustrated, and the team that has no business playing you, even on the field, can come out and end up pulling up the upset.
When you let teams hang around, and I think that, Clark, you touched on it. This is absolutely the key is don't beat yourself. Give yourself a chance to win the game, and guess what? You can win it.
Well, and I'm with Rod. What you want to happen to Texas is, oh, my God, we're going to lose to Vanderbilt. Oh, my God, we're going to lose to Vanderbilt.
And they panic.
And they start panicking, and Vanderbilt takes advantage and get a couple of things go their way. So,
let me ask you this, too. Do you think the Vanderbilt and the sports program now supporting to build the stadium, make these improvements, showing that, hey, we won a good program, does that make help you perform better?
Well, I think it like Clark Lee said, everything we do, every single thing we do is all pointed towards one thing, and that's winning.
I think that as a football coach, that's one of the things that absolutely helps your program, and I think it helps the athletes too, to know that you've got the support, to know that you want to win, because I think for many, many years, the Vanderbilt teams felt like they didn't have the support of the university or fan base. They weren't winning a lot of football games, but I think that maybe that contributed to that. So I think that making that commitment, yes, that's important to having a winning program.
Well, we'll go back to Tennessee just for a second, talking about the Vols. I can remember Coach Fulmer talking about you got to have your chancellor, your president, your AD, everybody lined up behind your athletic programs to give them a chance to be successful. And Vanderbilt hasn't had that, I don't feel like.
No.
But I think it's starting to change.
And I think their athletic director, and Clark Lee talked about her, he really praises her. I think she's made a big difference. I don't remember what her name is, but...
and we know they got the money. The SEC's pumping money into everybody. Every SEC team can't say they ain't got the money.
Mm-hmm.
They got the money.
They've got the money. You just got to make the commitment, and I think that Vanderbilt is making that commitment. And winning breeds winning. So if they can keep on winning.
Well, we're not ready for pigskin picks yet, but you got on to me last week, Danny. But I'm okay with it. I picked Alabama to beat Tennessee, and I'm okay to be wrong.
Yeah, that was yeah. It's like when you're having a discussion with your wife, you're always wrong. And you're okay with that because you're okay with admitting, honey, I was wrong, and this is the time when you're okay to admit that, right?
Wasn't pretty again. It's funny. I talked to a couple of friends of mine and people at school. How bad is a Tennessee fan when all you do is complain? Within an 8-day period, you beat Florida and Alabama. How bad is that?
I mean, what's there to complain about?
You can go back every year for years. Everybody would be delighted if that had happened.
Yeah. 5 years ago, 10 years ago,
20 years ago, just
about. You thought no way.
Yeah.
to beat Florida and Alabama in the same year. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, the big question would be the trifecta. Can we get Georgia coming down the road? We've got an off week. Tennessee does, and then we've got Kentucky, which we don't want to overlook, and Mississippi State before we get going to Georgia. So Tennessee's sitting right now at number 7. They're in the playoff talk. That worries me a little bit. I hate to be so worried about the Vols, but that worries me because I remember 2 years ago, it's like, all we got to do is go to South Carolina, and we're probably going in the playoffs. And what do? I can remember just about throwing my phone watching that game out down at Opryland where we were at the time because they were playing so bad. So 5 games left. If we lose to Georgia, can Tennessee still get in the 12-team playoff?
I think yes, depending on how other things fall out. Because if the only game they lose is to Georgia, then they would have had some good road wins, some good home wins. They've played a good schedule. I think that if they only lose to Georgia, I think yes they can, because what's going to happen in the rest of the SEC as far as teams knocking each other off? You got lots of head knockers still to come. LSU and Alabama, they still have to play, right? And You've got lots of games to play, so absolutely with 2 losses they could get in, especially if they play Georgia well. I think if the Georgia game is close, then that bodes even better for Tennessee.
That would be my argument. Even with a loss, if they're playing them, if it's a good game, it won't hurt them as bad.
Right.
If they win out the rest of the games.
When you get to the end of the season, you look at the tough teams. That's the only loss they have. That was really, it was a quality team. They had one clunker.
Arkansas, they just clunker.
And what you want is Arkansas to win. You now you're an Arkansas fan if you're for Tennessee, because the more games Arkansas wins, the better it makes Tennessee win.
Well, you want Vandy to win. Now you want Alabama to win. You got a leg up on Alabama. You want to beat LSU.
Right.
That just helps Tennessee out. It's funny how who you start rooting for when you need them. So
In other words, you use them.
The playoffs make strange bedfellows.
But boy, it is ugly down in Crimson Tide area. They have not lost twice before the end of October since Nick Saban's first season. So they are tearing it up down there, Coach DeBoer.
Begging Nick to come back.
Well, I mean, I think we said this last week. When you follow the guy who follows a dictator usually gets assassinated.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's
it's going to take time.
It's going to take time, but I'm all for Alabama now. The rest of the year, I'm all for you. Just like Vanderbilt. Good luck to the Commodores this week. Tennessee will sit back. Maybe this weekend will be chaos. That's what you want to have. You want to have chaos.
Tennessee's off this week. Right?
Tennessee's off, and so let's let everybody else have a tough go at it this next week. All right, we're going to take a quick break here in just a second. When we come back, we're going to I need to talk blue real quick. MTSU last night, unfortunately lost. Tough game again. First half was good. Lost 42-20 to Jacksonville State. Are the Blue Raiders still have something to play for?
Absolutely, they do. The school pride. That's a great thing about college athletics. You've always got something to play for. Every week is a battle. It's your chance to go out there and represent your school, and that's why college athletics, high school athletics, every week is a battle, and you never give up.
All right, we're going to come back and we'll talk a little more Blue Raider football.
Quick, convenient, efficient. 3 words that we all hope to experience when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to bring just that to an industry that's traditionally dictated to the customer when it's time to do business. Whether you're purchasing class pictures in a yearbook, class jewelry, a letter jacket, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience quick, convenient, and efficient. Find out more at jhacompany.com. JHA, your one source for an unparalleled scholastic experience.
Pizza. You can now order Murfreesboro's favorite pizza online at sirpizzatn.com. We've made ordering online a breeze. From sirpizzatn.com, tap on the location nearest you and begin your order for carryout or delivery. You can order the Royal Feast, create your own, spaghetti, calzones, everything right from our online portal at sirpizzatn.com.
Sir Pizza, you made me love pizza again.
If you need concrete work done, who would I call? Dan France Concrete. Here's why. He's local. He attended Walter Hill Elementary, Oakland, and MTSU. He served our community as a school resource officer for 9 years, and he's involved in the community.
This is Dan with Dan France Concrete, wishing all Rutherford County student athletes a great season. Study hard, play harder, and be safe.
Dan France Concrete is a licensed and insured residential and commercial concrete construction contractor serving Middle Tennessee. Check out danfranceconcrete.com online to see some of their work.
Rely on the experienced professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air.
Whether it's the blazing heat of summer or the bitter cold of winter, let the Rheem Pro professionals at Prentice Allsup Heating and Air Conditioning on West College Street keep your home or business comfortable year-round. We service all major brands and in most cases offer same-day service. Call us today at 615-890-1311. Prentice Allsup Heating and Air, your Rheem Pro partner heating and cooling contractor on West College Street, just under the Thompson Lane overpass.
The Blue Raider fan source for officially licensed Middle Tennessee gear is Raider Tees. T-shirts, caps, sweats in all sizes, designs, colors, children's to plus sizes. Raider Tees has decals and license plates to show everyone your favorite team. Plus, check out their wide selection of Blue Raider art, jewelry, even golf tee markers. Show your Blue Raider pride with the largest selection of Blue Raider merchandise anywhere by shopping Raider Tees, 910 Ridgely Road, just before the bridge over Broad behind Chewy's.
Primetime Sports presented by Ideas Tees on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at wgnssports.com.
All right, we're finishing up Blue Raider talk. Blue Raiders struggled defensively, gave up 438 yards on 55 carries to Jacksonville State. They're now sitting, of course, at 2-6. Probably the easiest part of their schedule is left, believe it or not, for MTSU. They're going to UTEP. They host Liberty. They host New Mexico State. And then they go to Florida International.
Now, Liberty's tough.
I think Liberty's undefeated.
They were the champs last year.
Yeah, I think they're undefeated.
And Jacksonville State was number 2 last year. They lost to Liberty in the championship game. And New Mexico State would have been tough if the Commodores hadn't
stolen their quarterback was still there, huh?
So we've all said you got to play the games to win them. They're sitting at 2-6, 4 games left. I mean, you never know if Coach Mason gets those boys turned around where he wants them. Going a little win streak. So, see, we're not out of a bowl just yet. Just yet. All right, let's talk high school football. Everybody is still available for the playoffs. Nobody has been eliminated. But with 2 games left, it's going to start happening this week, gentlemen. It's going to start happening. Mm-hmm. Last week, of course, Danny, you were at a first-time ever game because Stewart's Creek beat the Bulldogs.
I give so much credit to Coach Caudell and Billy Coleman, the defensive coordinator for Stewart's Creek. Their defensive game plan was masterful. They were in the Smyrna backfield more than the Smyrna fullback was. It was just, I know in the first half, Smyrna had like 8 negative plays. The whole game just about was played on Smyrna's end of the field. Stewart's Creek's defense completely dominated the game. So lots of credit to them. Big night for Stewart's Creek. Big night.
Big night. They've been playing well all season, and they continue rolling. You were at the Riverdale Blackman game.
Mm-hmm.
23 penalties.
Yes, too many.
Too many.
It seems like every game we broadcast, there's too many penalties.
So Riverdale won after a halftime tie of 7-7, 24-7. Blackman's been playing good football. Riverdale's playing pretty good football. Riverdale's got to get past Siegel this week with a huge game next Thursday night for the region against Oakland.
No, I think Riverdale really started playing well after the block punt penalty, roughing the kicker. And but once that happened, they really ran well. Taylor ran harder. And I was wondering, why is Taylor's record a little better, as far as yardage? But then I heard that he had been hurt.
He's been dinged up a little bit.
So was this his first game back, second game back?
He missed one game, but he's been playing. He seems to be healthy now, and so they need to keep him healthy, obviously. So Riverdale moved to 7-1. Blackman 4-4 overall, 1-2 in the region. Now looking at your region standings, you got Oakland at 4-0, Riverdale 3-0. Blackman, Rockville, and Coffee County basically are all tied right there in the middle. 1-2, 1-2, 1-3. Coffee County's out of region this week at Ooltewah, so it won't matter. But you've got Blackman, Rockville, and Coffee County all fighting for that 3rd and 4th spot. And we mentioned Siegel's not out of it, but they would have to beat Riverdale and Rockville the next 2 weeks. So big game coming up that y'all are covering tomorrow night is Rockville at Blackman, Ron.
That's correct. So we'll see one of those key games for the bottom half of the division, who's getting that 3rd and 4th spot. And it's a game that it'll be interesting to see. Something's happened different for Rockville. Their quarterback's out. Last week they used their defensive back, Jalen Morgan, the one who's committed to Georgia, put him at quarterback. He had 160-some yards rushing in the game. I think he had a few passes completed. That's not a threat, but maybe there's some kind of a running option like Jacksonville State ran, but it seemed to be pretty effective for them, but they weren't able to hold down John Paul II. They have a quarterback, a young sophomore, that is highly rated. He had 5 long touchdown passes. Of course, he made the same mistake 5 times, though.
Jalen Morgan, 15 carries, 161 yards, 3 touchdowns, 46 yards passing. So, Coach Guthrie's trying to find something to work, and, you might as well give the ball to your best player.
That's what you got to do, man. That's what you got to do.
All right, other games, of course, Oakland beat Coffee County. Coffee County's been on Coffee County started out early in the season. You thought there was going to be a quality team, but they've run to the Murfreesboro-Myrtle row and struggled. A team I keep not giving enough to, the Eagles. playing Loretta.
Yes.
28-21 victory for Coach Floyd.
You know, the Eagles are flying high down there. The thing is they found a way to rally. He's just finding a way to win football games, and that's what you want to do as long as
really struggled offensively early in the year. The defense carried them, but now the offense is very explosive. So where Snedeker has over 900 yards rushing, and that's quite a bit. When you get over 1,000 yards in a year, you've done something.
Caleb Snitzer, 163 yards and a touchdown as the Eagles improved to 5-3. Now, Eagles sitting in that 4th spot right now, tied with Huntland. They go to Richland this week. Richland, of course, is leading the pack 4-0. That's a really tough game. But the key game, again, is next week when they go to Cornersville. So they're on the road the next 2 weeks. Got to get through Richland and then Cornersville. Huntland is at Cornersville and hosts Collinwood. And so we need a little help there down there on the corner or down at Collinwood to help the Eagles out. Good luck to them. Beat Siegel last week. You already mentioned Pope John Paul. Middle Tennessee Christian beat Kings Academy. PCA and Middle Tennessee Christian back-to-back weeks. Winners there. Now, there's a big game this week. PCA, Middle Tennessee Christian.
I don't think they like each other too much.
Wow, that's not very nice of two Christian schools.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of cold.
We'll gather and pray afterwards.
Yeah. There's friendly competition at all levels.
Well,
friendly
PCA, though, there's ones that at the beginning of the year, they were basically a defensive team. But they really exploded. Had a 52-51 game against Friendship Christian. I think their quarterback has over 500 yards passing the last 2 games. So they're starting to really move offensively.
Former MTSU quarterback Clint Mark's son Tate, 576 yards rod and 11 touchdowns in the last 2 games, also rushing. So yeah, it's at Middle Tennessee Christian. Winner pretty much locks up number 2 seed in the region. So that's a huge game tomorrow night. We've already mentioned Rockville at Blackman. We're kind of split there, gentlemen. We're kind of split on this game here, looking at it. But I think we all finally lean towards Blackman being at home. But I don't think it's surprising anybody to see Rockets win that game.
No, I think that's because Rockville, despite some of their struggles, they've got some players. They just, sometimes things don't go the way you want them to. But it's a long season, and if you can find yourself, and then hey, you can make things happen. And they've got the players. They've got enough big play players and talent to beat Blackman. They do.
Siegel, of course, is at Riverdale tomorrow night. Riverdale will be doing their turf. What would you call it? Turf
dedication.
We're going to dedicate the turf. We played on it pretty much all year long, but things just didn't work out. But tomorrow night should be a beautiful night for Riverdale to do that. Coach Kreisky loves all those kinds of things that take away from football.
Oh, absolutely.
He hates homecoming. I bugged him about that when I saw him after homecoming. So I know he's going to love tomorrow night just as well. But Siegel always plays Riverdale tough.
Yes.
I mean, there's certain teams you just have a little struggle with.
Well, look at in their game against Beach last week, they had 20 points. Riverdale had 0 against Beach. So, I mean, that maybe they're getting some things that are working.
They're getting
now.
some kids back healthy is one of the keys for Siegels. That they've gotten some people who were hurt early in the year that are back on the field now.
It makes a difference.
A couple games on your end of the county, Danny. Laverne 0-8 at Stewart's Creek. That could be a tough one for the Wolverines.
Tough one for the Wolverines, but if you're Stewart's Creek, you can't look past anyone. And that's one of the things that is the focus for Coach Caudill this week is we need to stay task-oriented, and we want to make sure we understand last week was last week and this week is this week.
And then your dogs are hosting the Bears.
Antioch Bears, that's got the makings of a really good football game. This will be who can impose their will. Antioch's quarterback is extremely dynamic. I've seen the kid play. I saw him play last year as a freshman. I've seen him play this year as a sophomore. He's very dynamic, dual threat. They've got some players. This is not the Antioch of old. Last year they played at Antioch. Smyrna beat them, and Smyrna wound up, winning the region. But this is a big game because whoever wins this will likely host a second-round playoff game. So a huge game at Smyrna.
Antioch's lost 3 in a row and 4 of the last 5. They started out like gangbusters, and then they too have ran into a couple teams from Murfreesboro. Stewart's Creek got them, and then now Smyrna, the Bulldogs, get their chance at home, which I think's big for the Dogs. The other game, I guess these two teams are all right. They're okay. They're both undefeated. Ravenwood comes to Oakland. Ravenwood's coach,
Will Hester.
You know he's going to be throwing some stuff around against Oakland. Surprisingly, we talk about that, but defense is the name of the game for both of these teams. The second-rate Raptors have allowed 17 points. Game one, haven't allowed double digits since, including 4 shutouts. The Patriots had that crazy game against the team from Texas, 52-48, but since then, they're shutting everybody down as well. Oakland, of course, led by Southern Cal commit Dwayne Morris. Ravenwood, surprisingly, led by a quarterback, because Hester likes to throw it, Maverick Chance. What a name for a quarterback.
All right. So here's what I'm going to say about this game, and maybe I may be wrong, but I would think both teams will probably play it pretty close to the vest, because this, you want to win, but in reality, it doesn't mean a whole lot, because as long as you're still undefeated in the region, no matter what happens, and you could see these guys again. You could see each other again. So how much do you show right now? Because the second season is when it really matters. So I think it can be a really good football game, but both coaches may play a little bit closer to the vest.
I've seen them again. What game do you refer to?
It could be in the title tilt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, very well could. And you may be right, Danny. I think that's a good point. There's not really anything to win or lose pretty much by this game, but should be a great game. So, gosh, folks, you can go over to Oakland and see 2 undefeated teams. You can go over to Blackman and see a huge region game there. You can be on Danny's end of the county and see Antioch and Smyrna. There's good games all around. Unfortunately, WGNS can only call one of those games, and they will, of course, be again at Rockville and Blackman with the award-winning crew. Award-winning crew. All right, taking a look at Pigskin Picks. We haven't taken a deep dive yet. We've got a few minutes to do that. Brian Barrett is starting to stretch his lead. I think John Dinkins is getting a little worried about that, but Brian Barrett is stretching his lead. He's up 3 games on Danny Brewer, who has been hot as a pistol lately, Danny Brewer. So you had a 12-0 week a couple weeks ago, 13-4, now 11-1. You're rising to the top.
Whoa. It's one of those things where, back a horse and get paid.
He's trying to back a horse and get paid. We'll talk about that here in just a second, too.
Did you change your method? You do a horse way, how you bet on a horse, how you're going to do this?
It's one of those things where sometimes you take a swing. That's it. Sometimes you take a swing.
John and I are sitting at third, tied at 74-26. Again, I will take my Vol loss and be happy about losing it because we won against Alabama. Rod's in fourth, but we're all within 6 games. Looking at the picks this week, not a lot of movement's going to happen because we're pretty much all on the same page. We all believe in Riverdale, all going with Oakland and Blackman and Stewart's Creek and Smyrna. Surprisingly, nobody picked Antioch. We've got a little difference on Eagleville and Richland. All of us went with PCA, even on the road. I was kind of surprised we all went with PCA. Not somebody taking much as a Christian. Danny is going on the Vandy train, Rod. He is going with Vandy.
I said it, anchor down, boys.
He's going with Vandy. And then we all picked, of course, the line. So, Randy, if you're listening, I went against the Vols and they won. But I've been going against the Titans and they still can't win. So, I did the best I could, Randy, trying to help somebody out. So, y'all will be at Blackman. You're going to be tomorrow night.
Smyrna, Antioch.
I will be at Riverdale, so Danny and I will probably be sending in things to the boys, talking about what's going on at our games. Countdown to kickoff, of course, starts
whenever
Brian says.
Guys, that's what I set you up for that again. Whenever Brian says is when countdown to kickoff. So, folks, if you've not been to a high school football game recently, you've got another good chance with good weather, lots of good games in your area. Support your high schools. Hear the bands. There was a band competition last week at Riverdale. Go out and hear your bands play. Support these high school kids. Have a good time. Support the schools. There's a lot of good stuff going on out there. When we come back, we're going to talk about what WGNS can do for you this weekend and a couple final thoughts.
Head over to J. Mullins Jewelry to check out their selection of rings, watches, custom design jewelry, and much more. They're a local business located at 352 West Northville Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro. They have gifts for all occasions, weddings, graduations, anniversaries, whatever you need, you can find it at J. Mullins Jewelry. That's at 352 West Northfield Boulevard or online at mullinsjewelry.com.
Middle Tennessee Christian School, training for eternity.
The large majority of our kids are involved in athletics or extracurricular activities, one or the other, and most are doing multiple activities.
MTCS President Matt Tiller.
And that's a great preparation for life. How many of us in our life are just doing one thing? So a well-rounded student is a huge deal.
Invest in your child's future in a Christ-centered environment with many athletic and extracurricular choices.
Without a doubt, our students have the opportunity to be involved in multiple activities.
To find out more, visit mtcscougars.org.
Your ride, your stuff. You live with them together. I'm State Farm Agent Andy Wommel. It's smart to protect them together, to help life go right. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let me help you save by combining your auto and renters.
With the service you get from State Farm, you might think our car insurance costs more. I'm State Farm Agent Celeste Middleton. Give me a call at 615-895-2700 and let me show you with discounts up to 40%. You may find it even costs less.
Here's a question. What do you want from your electric co-op?
Fast response if the power goes out.
An app that keeps me informed. Tips to lower my monthly bill.
Communication on things that matter to me.
Done, 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 done.
I want to know everything.
Everything? Well, young lady, let me show you the MyMTE app. Energy Service Life. That's Middle Tennessee Electric. We're here to get done what matters most to you. Learn more at mte.com.
We're catching up with Anne-Marie Brents at Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive, another one of our great local businesses.
Yeah, it's a big family business. Knowing that my grandparents started it, to see it evolve and what it is now, it's just been really cool and I love it. It's just something I'm very passionate about and customers have been great to us as well.
Whether it's a quick meal, feeding the whole family, or catering, Rick's Barbecue can handle it all.
It's really something I'm really passionate about, very blessed and thankful for.
Rick's Barbecue, 212 Warrior Drive.
Primetime Sports presented by Ideas Tees on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at wgnssports.com.
All right, we're going to close out this Thursday show. Tomorrow night again, Rockville at Blackman High School. On Saturday, you got Coach's Corner with Brian, John, and Danny. Monday night, Middle Tennessee Football Coaches Show. The Middle Tennessee women's basketball team actually is starting to get some things going. They're available online stream only if you are interested in checking out the Lady Blue Raiders. Danny's not going to be here next week because Danny's going to be in
Del Mar, California. Breeders' Cup, World Thoroughbred Championships. I'll be out there and I'll be seeing some guys that remind me of like John Dinkins. You know, these thoroughbreds, just these, and Clark Blair, just these stud thoroughbred athletes. So it's just a World Thoroughbred Championships, Breeders' Cup. It's the greatest 2 days of racing in the United States. You know, $34 million in purses. It's the best of the best from all around the world. I think 9 different countries will be sending horses over there. You know, you got Japanese horses, Dermasota Gake and Forever Young that almost won the Kentucky Derby. So like I said, it's going to be super, super exciting. It truly is a world championship. You know, because we call the baseball, we say, you know, if the Dodgers win or the Yankees win, well, they're the world champs. What are they? In this, you are the world champ because you're running against folks from all over the world. The best of the best. I'm telling you. I'm excited if you can't tell.
I can tell. And I'd be jealous. But the weather here is about as good as it is in California right now.
Don't bother me. Go on.
So when he says he's going to California, I usually get jealous. But right now we're good, except we need a little bit of rain. All right, so tomorrow night, find somewhere to go. But if you can't, WGNS Radio is your place to be. We'll see you next Thursday night.